My name's Scott Marden. I work for Captivate Network. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer, and I'm here both as a speaker and attendee at the Digital Signage Expo. I'm also on the advisory board for the Out-of-Home Network, so I'm here to meet with my peers, do our annual meeting, and discuss topics that are important to the industry. I did it 2 days ago, and it was all around content. So it was it was the day on Tuesday, and the discussion there really was around how content is evolving in the industry, how there's certain things that people are trending towards and gravitating towards. For me at Captivate, what we do is we really build content programs that generate revenue both for us and for our clients. So content that's very specific to a brand's goals and objectives, and usually that includes a lot of customization, collaboration, native content, dynamic content, and Captivate's been seen as a leader in that for a number of years. We have screens all throughout office buildings in America and up in Canada, and these screens are located in the elevator environment, in the lobby environment, and as people engage with us, we're delivering content that's relevant to the workday. So content about small business tips, content about what to do that night after work, happy hour, socialization. It makes it fun, makes it interesting, and advertisers love to be associated with it. They asked me about specific client examples, so I talked about our client Oppenheimer, which is a financial company and offering financial advisory services. They're using native content on our screens, and what they do is they're tied to the election, which is a real hot topic right now. So rule number one is keep it relevant, contextual to what's going on in the world. So their content was about how the markets drive the election, not the election drives the markets. So don't have fears about whether it's going to be Republicans or Democrats in office. Think about how really the market might dictate who we elect, not vice versa. And our viewers love that. Their ad always plays right next to it, so they get great visibility both for their brand and their thought leadership. And that's what we promote in the content session, was becoming thought leaders. And you can't do that by just accepting third-party data-fed content. You got to create your own. You got to work with clients to customize theirs, and that's a real proven strategy that works. What we talk a lot about is mobile integration. So as people interact with digital signage, you need to really think about activating them on their devices. So that's mobile, tablets. In the office environment where Captivate plays, we do a lot of activation now on desktop computers. So reaching people on more than just one screen is really the best way to triangulate that consumer and cause a response or an interaction. So what I've learned the most about is what other people are doing around mobile with beacon technology, with geofencing. In fact, that's what Captivate's been doing for the last 2 years, is smart geofencing around our buildings to retarget our audience on their phones, and it's proven effective with click-through rates going up to 1%, really doubling what the clients have been seeing traditionally on mobile by adding the multi-screen component, multi-touch. That's what I found most interesting, and there's a lot of announcements around other companies incorporating mobile into their plans, and we're excited to be part of that. The network that's deploying the content and the advertising, for them, my advice would be don't try to do everything yourself. Don't think that your network needs to be customized or special. If you look at all the digital signage out there, and when you talk to them and ask them, what is it about their content or their experience that's different, they'll go on and on about how we've customized this and customized that. Well, as you look around the floor today, you'll see that there's so many off-the-shelf products that we can all incorporate into our systems to make it run more seamlessly and integrated with what our clients are looking for. So my advice is don't try to do everything yourself. Don't look at yourself in the mirror and say, well, I'm special. Look at what other people are doing and borrow their ideas and borrow the vendors that they use and use those yourself. Yeah, it's one of the best parts of the show is the way you can really dig and find so much information and value from what other people are doing, what other people are offering out there. I've spent so many times having one-off sessions, outside of Starbucks, just learning what the vendors have that's new and different, what other networks are doing, because we're all willing to share. Captivate, I'll share anything about my network with anyone, and we can only improve the industry if we do that. And that's the reason for these sessions, that's the reason for these floor, and I really encourage the side sessions. Just grab someone, take them out for a coffee, and find out for half an hour what they're up to. I had a gentleman come up to me yesterday and hug me and grab me, and he says, Scott. It was literally a friend from my childhood that I had no idea was in the industry. His name is Matt Catone. I'm going to plug his company. He works for Horizon, and a great company doing wayfinding and other stuff. But I would have never have known he was here until I came, and that's great. You're making bonds with people. You're either reconnecting or connecting with new people all the time, and you're having fun after the show, going out in a great town like Vegas. I think it's well worth coming. I think one of the questions on there is around what the industry needs a little more of, and uniform measurements, one. So Captivate employs overhead sensors and cameras, and that's some of the technology that's here. In fact, a great company I've talked to a number of times is Quivity. They do eye tracking, facial recognition, analytics of the people in front of the screens. Captivate does that with overhead cameras and sensors, and that helps us measure our audience. But what the industry needs is real uniform measurement. So understanding how many people are in front of your screens, understanding how many people are watching your screens, and then really the most important factor is how much time they're spending with your screens, and how does that contribute to the viewership of a particular advertising spot. So that lack of uniformity is something that's concerning for the industry, as are the creative units and the specs and the really the uniform requirements to get an ad or a piece of content on the air. In terms of what they've seen so far, they're looking at technology, so that's hardware, the screens themselves, the software and the players behind it, and then really the content management systems out there and how those can deploy not only the news and the information to the screens, but the advertising, third-party data. And we're a big user of what's considered dynamic data, where data triggers an ad, either an A versus B creative unit, or maybe it starts a campaign based on a certain trigger. I'll give you an example. If today's weather reaches 80 degrees, which it's supposed to around 3 o'clock, that may trigger an iced coffee ad for Starbucks or for Dunkin' Donuts. And that only happens when you're looking at your content management system, working with your data providers and your data partners to really get creative and come up with unique ways to deploy campaigns. DSE, simply amazing.